Hey guys, this week's episode on Doctor Who is episode 2 of season 7, Dinosaurs on a Spaceship. It's a filler episode, and although it's a filler episode, they do tend to hint at things around the place for the overall plot. So let's get through and run through the plot. The Doctor is in Egypt in 1334 BC when he receives a call from the Indian Space Agency in the 24th century asking him to investigate an unknown ship. He takes Queen Nefertiti, who he's with at the time, and grabs John Riddle, a hunter from 1902, who I don't know what he's got to do with it, but anyway, they take him too. He materialises around Amy and Rory, whilst Rory's dad, who's with him at the time, is fixing some stuff around the house. The Indian Space Agency want him to investigate this spaceship that they found, and to be honest, they've probably already decided beforehand they want to shoot it down, but they wanted the Doctor to check out what it is first. So they head in with Rory's dad as well, and the first thing they do is split up and get chased by dinosaurs. In their separate groups, Amy takes the role of the leader, whilst the Doctor is gone, and she does a pretty good job. She works her way through the computer systems and finds out that it's actually a Silurian ark, but can't find any signs of life apart from themselves and the dinosaurs, so she's a bit confused. If we jump over to where the Doctor's at, he's found himself in the engine room, which is basically an artificial beach. He finds a computer in a rock, which is obviously the first place he'd look, but before he can really do much, they start getting attacked by pterodactyls, so going with the dinosaur theme. So they have to abandon the rock computer, and but they manage to escape into a kind of crevice or crack in the rocks. It actually looks like it's a man-made kind of thing though. Anyway, they come up and find some robots, and they're quite incompetent robots at that. So they're taken to Solomon, who's this black market trader, and so he's actually gone and stolen the Silurian's cargo, and he's killed everyone aboard, apart from these dinosaurs, which is the cargo he's after. So Solomon's stuck though. He's because the ship's on autopilot. It can only be controlled by the Silurians, and so he's on autopilot and he doesn't know what to do. So the Doctor showing up is kind of like a good thing for him. So whilst they're talking, Solomon starts to scan the ship for interesting stuff that the Doctor might have brought aboard, and he's a bit confused because the Doctor doesn't apparently exist in the database. So he's a bit confused about that. But what it does find is Queen Nefertiti. It analyses her and finds that she is a valuable thing. Now, when he mentioned valuable thing, I almost thought he was talking about the TARDIS at first, but it does make sense that it's Queen Nefertiti after all. Meanwhile, Amy and the others find out what's going on, and Amy, being pretty good in this episode, teleports themselves over to the Doctor. And Queen Nefertiti, she sacrifices herself. She just hands herself over. So Solomon drags her back over to their spaceship, and so he's decided to take Queen Nefertiti and ditch the dinosaurs, because it's an equally valuable thing for him, and it does mean that he does get out alive. So the Doctor's not happy with this, and what he actually does is he switches the identification codes of the spaceships, and he targets the missiles that the Indian Space Agency has sent over to Solomon's ship. And so he dies, and they get away safely. This brings me over to the review of this, and it's a pretty good filler episode. I'm quite happy with it. I like the comedy of the robots and Rory's dad being involved, but there's a pretty big problem with it, and it is that the Doctor pretty casually just lets Solomon die. And although he is a black market guy and trader and he's a bad guy, in the new series he just doesn't really do that. He'll often lock them up, and David Tennant's done that a couple of times, or punish them in some way, but he just murders him, and the rest of the group don't really seem to find out about it, or if they do, they didn't say anything about it. Anyway, so there's not really any theory to this story because it's a filler episode, but it usually includes hints, and I haven't found any personally. If you notice anything, please let me know, because I always miss things. I'm only human. Anyway, I'll be back back next week with the Western episode that was the main feature in the Season 7 trailer. And it's called A Town Called Mercy. There's a side note. There's a channel that you should check out. He's called Rich and Space. And he also does Doctor Who videos, and I find him quite funny. He does a really good job of reviewing, and he gets humour in there as well. He's also going to be doing some, reviewing a heap of the classic episodes from, like, the 60s on to the 80s, yeah. There's a bit of a language warning, but it's only occasionally, and in general, I think it's a good channel to watch. And that's all for this week. I'll see you next week. Bye.